Yo, what is good, YouTube? It's your boy Dez Reacts back with another video, and this is part 2 of the World War II 13 Hours That Saved Britain by Free Documentary History. And you guys love this video, man, and I'm so excited to do the second part of it, man. I was just getting fired up, and you know, it's 12:30 a.m. here, so catch me some slack if you catch me yawning. But we just did the premiere of part 1, man, and you guys really want part 2, so you know, I'm just gonna go ahead and bang this one out for us. And I really appreciate all the love and support you guys have given me. I got a couple announcements I want to make. Number 1, you guys can now officially buy me a coffee. Links in the description if you guys want to support your boy's channel. 2, I set up a Discord. That's also in the description. And number 3, your boy went viral on TikTok for some reason. I woke up with like 5.8 million views. Go ahead and check it out. My TikTok's in the little channel banner. But yeah, without further ado, man, I'm really excited to get this one going. If you guys remember, we started off, or we cut it off, where the bomb just got done dropping and the dudes got like thrown through a window. Freaking crazy, I know. So we're gonna get this one going. I'm really excited for this. We got about 24 minutes left of this, so get your favorite snacks, get your favorite drinks, and you know, let's vibe together.
A fraction of a second between the two events, thank God, because if we'd actually gone through the glass, I think it might well have killed us.
And then, as I was about to deliver another attack on the same airplanes, the crew began to bail out. And I was immediately behind it, and I remember seeing things I didn't really recognize to start with until they flew past the top of my cockpit, and I realized they were arms and legs.
The German aircraft was shot down.
People were they ejected, and he's the other fighter pilot. He was the, you know, obviously the British fighter pilot. And he said that they were ejecting, and he's like, he didn't know what it was until he saw some arms and legs. Oof, that is crazy.
Just over our area, and the pilot parachuted into the grounds of the old Bedlam lunatic asylum, which is now the Imperial War Museum. He was immediately surrounded by as many people as you can name, all very, very angry, of course.
12:11 p.m. The German formations turn away from London and head back towards the English Channel, harried all the way by Spitfires and Hurricanes.
2 of the bomber pilots decided it was time to go home. They didn't fancy, they'd never seen so many Spitfires and Hurricanes together in one time.
Damn.
So they took a turn. They broke off from the right side of the formation, which brought the 2 of them towards me. As they were coming over, they thought they'd get a bit more speed, so they started to jettison their bombs.
No.
One of the bombs came down quite near me, but being young and energetic and quite fit, I was able to run. I felt the blast of the bomb, but I ran, managed to keep my feet. I ran into the caves.
Oh my goodness, bro. He was a little kid, and he almost died because he was curious about the war. And you gotta kind of think, man, think from the Germans' perspectives also. They're going into this battle thinking that the Royal Air Force is almost depleted, gone, because that's what their intelligence told them. So they thought it was gonna be like a smooth flight into London where it's gonna bomb them and turn around and make our way back. Bro, he almost lost his life because he was just watching the bombs, man. That's crazy. Imagine how scary it sounded inside the dark caves. You're just being quiet, just listening, you know what I mean?
Well, when the German formation started its retreat from London, RAF fighters were concentrating on trying to bring the aircraft down. The German commander of that formation, Alois Lindmayr, kept his formation together as tightly as possible, knowing that if it was split up, individual aircraft would be doomed. And he beat a brilliant tactical retreat. He managed to get most of his formation back across the channel.
12:55 p.m. All clear sounds over London and the southeast.
When we came out, we saw that our house and business, which was a Futures and greengrocers belonging to our father, was completely ruined. Everything was smashed to smithereens and nothing left at all.
I had a friend at school and we decided that we'd meet up at the weekend and I would cycle over to his house. When I got to the cottage,
Bunny.
there was just a heap of rubble. There was the house gone.
I leapt up and opened my window, and sure enough, there in the gutter was a big, plump chicken. I shouted to my little tiny brother at the time, "We're going to have chicken tonight, Dave." It turned out that what our dead chicken was that there was a very plump lady who was in the houses down the road, and it was that much of her arm that had got blown and onto our roof.
What? It was a human? It was someone's girl's arm. Oh, that is awful. He thought this about to eat some arms. Oh. You know what the messed up thing about all this is? Even in today's, even if you had insurance on your home, it doesn't cover war. Like, that's one thing insurance companies will not cover is war. So they're just F. They just have to rebuild it. Man. These people lost everything.
Was suddenly a little boy growing up very quickly and thinking war is not much fun.
They asked me to carry mugs of tea to the firemen who were still fighting the flames, the ambulance people who were still dealing with people who were trapped in some of the burnt buildings. We stayed there, I think, till most of the day, until the fires had all calmed down. But it was an experience that's impinged on my mind to such an extent, it'll never go away.
1 p.m. In the operations room of 11 Group, the plotting map is cleared of enemy markers. The Luftwaffe attack has been heavily disrupted. They have lost 18 aircraft, the RAF 13. But more hard fighting lies ahead. The Luftwaffe is gathering its forces for a second, far greater assault that will push fighter command to the very limit. 1:05 p.m., 15th of September 1940. German bombing raids have shattered the peace of Sunday morning. The people of London and southeast England begin dealing with the aftermath of the raid.
And I forgot that you guys go by, like, you know, the 20-hour clocks or whatever it is. Like, we only have the 12-hour clocks in America. So, like I said, that's why I was like, it's 12:42 a.m. here. But over there, it's like, I don't know what time it would be over there. Or 1 a.m. over there is like 1300, I think. So, interesting.
Some discover more than just debris and destruction.
We were in our shelter and we crept out, and in the first apple tree down the garden there was a parachute opened. No sign of an airman, just the parachute.
This little pickup truck came along, I think it was a Hillman or an Austin, with 4 or 5 Home Guard in the back, and I think they had 1 rifle. And they asked us where the parachutists had come down, and so we told them, and off they went.
We were told to keep them covered and make them take off their parachute. When they were captured, those German pilots, they were so arrogant, they couldn't do anything with them, because they thought they would be released in a few weeks. The Brits were going to give in.
I think if someone's dropping bombs on you, you don't like those people very much. You know, there used to be a saying going around, the only good German was a dead German.
I heard that saying before.
Which lightened it up for us kids was searching for shrapnel.
shrapnel became a sort of currency amongst small boys. You could swap cigarette cards for shrapnel and the other way around. You know, really good conker would be worth a piece of shrapnel. And so getting out into the streets first was quite important.
What you got, Gert? Good, that'll make a good souvenir.
There would be competition between other boys.
That's crazy.
Mostly boys, girls as well, I suppose, but mostly boys.
Yeah.
Of how much you collected. We collected buckets of the stuff.
Let me know in the comments. Do any of your guys' like grandparents or in your family now? Do you guys have any souvenirs from the war? Because I know a lot of people actually did that, like took stuff from the wars and brought it back.
We did find a live incendiary bomb, so I took it along to my friend's house, who lives a bit further this way, and he got it on the workbench, and he was drilling a hole in it, and of course they're magnesium, and the drill bit was getting hot, and it was vivid blue or mauve flame coming off the bomb, and I decided to get out of it as quickly as possible, and I went and told his mum, and he was rather upset about that, you know, stop his fun.
As soon as the people had cleared the bomb site, we were on it. What we were mainly looking for were pennies that, you know, might have got buried in there, somebody, a little hoard of things. Wasn't very nice, really, when you come to think of it. But then, of course, there was the sort of lightness for us as children, a little bit of adventure that, after all the horrors.
1:40 p.m. Reports are streaming in as the electronic eyes of the radar network detect another build-up of enemy aircraft across the channel.
In the afternoon, radar picked up an even larger formation forming up and crossing over the channel. Although it couldn't give an exact number, it was estimated to be 400 plus aircraft. Our aircraft, of course, after the morning raid, had returned to ground to rearm and refuel, and were back up in the sky to meet this threat.
The Luftwaffe forms 3 huge columns of aircraft. This aerial armada is determined to batter its way through all opposition.
We didn't really know what to expect. Well, we were all praying that the Air Force was going to be strong enough to hold out.
You adopt a sort of
This one's gonna be
fatalistic
good.
attitude to it. You just carry on as best you can. There was a phrase during the war which saying is that if a bomb has got your name on it, that's the one to worry about.
But at my age, you couldn't be killed anyway, could you? It was a big adventure.
1:45 p.m. A lone Spitfire is ordered high over the English Channel to wait for the incoming air fleets and relay visual reports to ground controllers. Meanwhile, Mary is under the impression that her memorable Sunday is over.
She had a white wedding dress, and she had some flowers, just little tiny flowers in her hair, you know. Anyway, once they'd got married, they came out the church, right? Got in their car and disappeared. My father said, come on, let's go home then.
We'd never known anything like this before, and the only consolation we had was that everyone was in the same boat.
Best wedding ever, huh? You can't choose your wedding on a worse day than that. That's nuts.
"26,000 feet above the English coast, the lone, forward patrolling Spitfire spots the incoming German formations. 5 minutes later, more than 450 enemy aircraft begin to cross the English coast. As each of his squadrons returns to combat readiness, Air Vice Marshal Keith Park orders them airborne once more. And again, he requests help from neighboring groups.
Okay, Chuck, scramble.
2:05 p.m. 275 fighters are scrambled to face more than 100 bombers, escorted by over 350 enemy fighters.
Ooh. this is about to be a huge battle. Oh my gosh, this is bigger than the first one. Oh man, you guys better buckle up.
Throughout southeast England, the air raid sirens scream their warning.
This is Red Observer. We got hostiles, 30 plus.
They herald the approach of the enemy air fleet, and a battle fast moving towards its climax. (2:14 p.m.) The first clashes take place high above Romney Marsh, as 3 Spitfire squadrons throw themselves into a steep dive to attack the enemy formations.
I saw all these hundreds of Germans coming in, and we went in as a squadron to attack the bombers. So I went in at this height. They're in close formation, and the gunner never fired back at me, and I always thought that somebody had been at him first. But anyway, I got an engine blazing.
So the Spitfires had come down to see to them, and the 109s would come down to attack the Spitfires. So by the time we got off the end of squirting at a whole line of bombers, all hell was let loose.
Why don't you think the guy shot back at them, the German? That doesn't make sense to me. Like these dudes, like you're about to die by the English, you know what I mean? Like they're gonna kill you. We're not here to pity pat around, you know, and just F around up there. The dude didn't even shoot back at him.
Speed and surprise drives them through the escorting fighters and onto the bombers.
Had a quick poke at a bomber, then been bounced by the 109 escort yourself, so you would have to concentrate on saving yourself from the 109s.
German fighters are hampered by orders to stick close to the bomber formations and struggle to beat off the initial attacks.
I was cycling along when I saw this aircraft coming toward me, very, very low, rooftop height. I jumped off my bicycle and quickly ran into the station, and then realised the station wasn't a safe place to be because that could obviously be a target.
The German formations battle through to the outskirts of London.
We went into the Anderson shelter, and then people started to say, look at this. And of course, we all piled out to see what this was. And it was just unbelievable to see so many aircraft. Never seen so many aircraft.
Man.
2:30 p.m. The first of London's anti-aircraft batteries open fire. With little more than 200 heavy guns available.
And yes, I actually have ad blocker now, but since I like refreshed my browser or whatever, I have to re-put it on, so it's like, ugh.
London is desperately short of anti-aircraft artillery. But the barrage unsettles the approaching bombers and acts as a beacon for British fighters.
The first thing we'd see is the cloud of anti-aircraft fire. We seldom saw aircraft in the air because you could pass 500 aeroplanes flying in the opposite direction 2 miles away and not see a thing. All we used to see were the anti-aircraft shells bursting, and we would fly towards them, and then in the middle of those, of course, would be the bombers. In fact, we used to say that the only useful thing that the anti-aircraft did was to provide the puffs in the air, which enabled us to see the bombers.
My chum came in, all his clothes had little holes in it, and it was shrapnel from the big guns from the parks, you know, and all the shrapnel had gone through him, burnt holes all over his suit.
Stretching out over town and countryside, 60 miles back to the English coastline, the sky is dotted with twisting, turning aircraft and streaks of vapor and smoke.
What you can remember is them coming down in smoke and screaming and that sort of thing, sparring down with a column of smoke and hit them when they hit the ground.
What was on that dude's eye? But what do you guys think that the fighter pilot's thinking in that situation where their wing gets shot off or the engine goes and they start spiraling down. Because you know the eject systems weren't good back in the day. Like, how do you think they felt?
2:33 p.m. The command system is becoming overloaded, with reports of squadrons engaging and dogfights underway. The situation boards and the plotters' activity tell a story of total commitment.
One would have the impression that during a battle, the operations room would be calm, controlled and orderly. According to one of the ladies that worked here, when aircraft were up, it was chaotic and extremely noisy.
Churchill observes the crowded plotting table, sensing that the action is approaching a climax. He looks for signs of squadrons being held in reserve.
He asked Park, how many reserves do we have left? The answer was none. Everything was committed for the afternoon raid.
Park.
Oh, so this was like a all chips in type thing. Like, you guys sent everybody. You guys didn't have any backups. Oh, so you guys, this is sink or swim. If you guys didn't pull this off, or you guys don't pull this off, it's over with.
Later described as a man who could have lost the war in an afternoon, has sent every available squadron into action. The decisive hour has arrived.
Mm.
2:45 p.m., 15th of September 1940. The battle rages over southeast England. Every available RAF fighter squadron is airborne and committed. British pilots are pushing themselves to the very limit. But inevitably, bombs begin to fall on the capital.
By the time they arrived over the city, London was covered in cloud. They could not see their target, so they just threw their bombs out indiscriminately.
All of a sudden, there was this tremendous thump, and the house shook.
And I heard a bomb drop quite close, and then another one much closer. And I remember thinking to myself, I hope there's not a third. But there was. All the lights went out. It was pitch dark. All the dirt and dust came up from the floor. Everyone was choking. But fortunately, we were alive.
Oh.
Right next door to us.
My gosh, man. That is insane. The Germans couldn't see their targets because it was already like covered in ash and stuff from the night before or the day before. Oh my gosh. So they're just dropping bombs on civilians' homes and stuff they didn't even know what things of no importance. They're just dropping bombs just cause, bro.
With the pickle factory. Well, that got a hit, and there was pickles flying everywhere. There were bottles bursting everywhere, because everyone owned the bikes, you know. There was pickles flying everywhere.
He sounds happy.
Bombs dropped, and they dropped with a hell of a bang, and windows got blown in, and roofs got blown off, and very strange things happened to houses. You'd get them sliced right through, and there'd be a gap, and you'd see all the wallpaper of all the rooms of that house that was still standing. But these were the ghosts of the house that had gone.
I remember coming out of the church and realising that we was being bombed. Or my dad said, undercover, undercover. There were so many bombs falling then, and they were falling down, believe me. Because the bombs was falling down, we was running here, there and everywhere, trying to get out of the way. We went into the shelter, except my brother wanted to go home with his wife and the baby.
No.
The bomb came down at the front of the shelter and pushed him down on top of his wife and the baby, so they were saved. But
oh, thank God. I thought the baby died.
He was gone. And that was the last time I saw him.
Her brother died. No, why would you want to go home? Why would you not stay in the shelter underground? Oh my gosh, I feel bad for her. Her brother died, but at least the baby and wife survived, man. So hopefully that baby carried his legacy. Oh, she's sad, man.
During the war, people got killed. But you never looked at it from that point of view. I suppose the fighter pilots were the same, really. They just glad till they shot someone down. It was either them or us.
That's how it is in war.
Bombs have been scattered over a wide area of southeast London. Now, the raiders turn for home. Their escort fighters have already left with barely enough fuel for the return flight.
And then they were sitting ducks, and that's why there were so many German bombers shot down.
His mouth is still driving me crazy. He need to drink some water, wipe all of that.
3:15 p.m. As the retreating bombers reach the channel, they are met by fresh German fighters, hastily dispatched from bases in France. Fresh British fighters, racing towards the battle from bases in Exeter, engage them.
Got him!
But British fighters are forced to abandon the chase. They are low on fuel and ammunition, and forbidden to pursue the enemy out across the sea. With ominous clouds piling in the skies, the threat of further aerial action recedes, much to the relief of all who have fought and lived through this day.
That's tough.
5:25 p.m. One last Luftwaffe daylight raid is plotted. In spite of a grueling day's fighting, several RAF squadrons again take to the air. The enemy raiders are a fast hit-and-run force of fighter bombers, targeting the Spitfire works at Southampton. But they are driven off without loss to either side. For Fighter Command, it is their last major action of the day.
Today was the most costly for the German Air Force for nearly a month. In daylight raids, between 350 and 400 enemy aircraft were launched in 2 attacks against London and southeast England.
They took out a lot of Germans, bro. Man, the RAF, man, those boys were doing their thing.
About half of them were shot down.
In the heat of battle, RAF pilots believe they've shot down many more aircraft than they have. Actual German losses are more down to earth. The Luftwaffe has lost 79 aircraft and more than 130 aircrew, compared to RAF losses of 29 aircraft with 12 pilots killed. Nonetheless, it represents a stunning victory.
That's a good ratio.
It was a defining point in the war. 2 days later, Hitler postponed Operation Sea Lion. He realized that the Luftwaffe had not defeated the Royal Air Force, therefore the invasion could not go ahead.
And you felt so proud of these wonderful young men who was defending us. Yes, I mean, they were, in that sense, heroes to us. These were people giving their lives and protecting us.
And if I could have, learned how to fly an airplane, I'd have been up there. I wouldn't, of course. My mother wouldn't let me.
The 15th of September 1940 was the finest hour in our history because we came so near to defeat.
It was a time when Hitler thought he would be able to bring us to our knees, and he failed.
It was just, a remarkable outcome, and here we are to tell the story.
When we were at an air raid shelter, when an RAF pilot came in, and people stood up.
Yes.
Oh, yes. Wow. And applauded him.
Yes, yeah.
He was only a young chap, very embarrassed, no medals, but he had his, wings. He was waiting, I think, to do great things. But he looked so young, but everyone stood up in that shelter. And rather like a theatre performance, they applauded him.
Like a celebrity.
The fighter squadrons, a highly organized defense system, and the national spirit of resilience have taught the Nazi regime an abrupt lesson. It is their first military defeat. There will be bombing raids on British cities under the cover of night. there will be 4 more years of hard fighting. But Britain itself has been saved. The British people have maintained their freedom and secured their island home from invasion.
Wow, what a freaking documentary. I love this. Thank you guys so much for recommending this to me, for real. And let me know in the comments, man, your guys' thoughts and feelings on this, because you know this is close to home for you guys. You guys handed Germany their first L. That's something to be freaking proud of, man. The Royal Air Force, man, are freaking beasts. And on top of that, bro, if you guys like this content, enjoyed it, man, let me know in the comments what you guys want me to react to next. Please smash that like button, hit that subscribe button, turn those noties on, and go ahead and check the links in the description, man. So without further ado, I hope you guys have a great night, and I hope you guys have a great ass weekend, man. Catch you guys on the next video. Peace.